Hi everyone, my name is Katja, I'm CatColouring, and a warm welcome to my channel for both new and old subscribers. As you know, I really like Japanese coloring books, and this brand new coloring book by Aikawa Sora is absolutely no exception. I have 4 of her other coloring books, and with all of these Japanese coloring books, I have translated them all from Japanese to English. You can watch the other flip-throughs of her other books on my channel in the playlist Translated Flip-throughs. So this book is, as I said, brand new. It was released on January 8th this year, and I first saw it on Coloring with Kay in one of her coloring halls. I actually think that she was one of the first colorists who got a hand in this coloring book. And I actually searched a couple of times on Amazon Japan and I wasn't able to find it, but then suddenly it was there and I ordered it. So a translated flip through, for those of you who are new to my channel, is simply that I make a flip through, but I have translated all of the Japanese into English. And this means that you will get a very, very clear idea about what the coloring book is all about and what the introduction says, all the good tips and tricks, because Japanese coloring books are filled with tips and tricks for coloring. All that I have translated for you, and you just need to sit back, relax, and enjoy the flip through, and then you can decide if you want to invest in this coloring book or not. As I said, I have a whole playlist up on my channel with translated flip-throughs, and both these Aikawa Sora books, but also Aries World Heritage or World Series, the 4 coloring books in her World Series with World Heritage, World Fairy Tales, World Legends, and World Literature. I also have a video up there in that playlist with the stories behind fairy tales and folklore coloring book by Emilie Lidehall Øberg, where I have actually researched and tell you a lot about the stories behind the drawings in that book. So that's not actually a translated flip through, but it's still a flip through with stories behind the drawings. So I will begin here, but before I begin, get yourself a nice cup of coffee or a mug of tea, and let's get started with this one. So here we have the very beautiful cover here on this brand new coloring book by Aikawa Sora. And here we have the outline of, I think it's supposed to be a duck. And up here it says special coloring book with postcards. So this is yet another coloring book with postcards in the back, and I will get back to them later in the video. And this is published by Cosmic Mook, like her other coloring books. And of course, here it says coloring book like usual. And then the title, Cats and Their Cute Friends on the Flower Path by Aikawa Sora. And here we can get a very good idea from the cover what this book is all about. We have the main character, the cat, right here. And then we have some of the other characters we meet during the coloring book on the pages. A fawn and birds and a little rabbit here. And of course, a lot of flowers. So when we open the coloring book, you can see it's brand new. So we'll just have to press a little bit hard here to open the pages properly. We can see here on the inside, and it doesn't really... there's not much about this in this coloring book compared to her others, because usually we have several pages with coloring tips and tricks and recommendations for the coloring. But here we just have it right here, and it says here how to color a cat and how to color flowers. Hydrangea Manca, I think it's called. So here it says how to color a cat. And step by step, and if you don't want to hear this, and you can just go a little bit ahead in the video, and then I will begin with the book itself. But for those of you who are really interested in the coloring tips and tricks, I will just go through this. So how to color a cat. The first one says paint the whole face and body with a light color, and next paint it a little darker, paying attention to shadows. And we can clearly see here the light color, and then you add a little bit of a darker color in shadow areas on the back, here with the tail, and also here with the legs, or rather just behind the legs. And it also says that leave the inside of the ears and the eyes and the nose uncolored. So you don't color the ears, eyes, and nose until later. The next step, step 2, add layers of red and brown to the shadow areas. So now you mix and blend brownish and red colors, or perhaps just a brown ochre. I actually think a brown ochre would be very nice here. And then you add a thin pattern along the fur. So first color the shadow areas, add a little more color here, and then you begin outlining the patterns or stripes here in the cat's fur. And then step 3, use brown to draw a pattern along the fur. So now you use a darker color where you clearly outline the fur pattern here on the cat. And then the 4th step, color the inside of the ears and nose with pink and the eyes with light green and dark brown. And then she says, because it's Aikawa Sora who has colored this and written this, she says, I used the blue-green for the background. And this scene is taken from the page 76, which is called Moonlit Night. So we will get to that page later at the end of the book. And here, how to color flowers, hydrangea, manca. And it says the first step, paint the entire petal wisteria. So the color, this is a sort of a mauve or light violet color, wisteria. I know a lot of coloring brands have the color wisteria. I actually think that Castle Art Pastel Tints, that they have a wisteria, and I think I have seen it in somewhere else. I can't remember if the Black Widows also have a wisteria or if it's another brand I'm thinking about. But anyway, color the entire petal wisteria, making sure the center is a darker color. This just means that you press a little bit harder and add a little bit color here around the center of the flower. And then step 2, it says paint the center of the other or outer petals even darker with wisteria purple. So now you switch to a darker color and begin adding these shadow areas here on the flowers. Then it says step 3, add a layer of light blue to the center of the smaller inner petals. So here around the middle, add a lighter blue color. And then the 4th step, it says, use a darker color to add lines to the petals to create a three-dimensional effect. Don't know if you can see it, so I will just put it up to the camera a little bit closer. You can clearly see here that you can then take the flowers and add some lines here to create this three-dimensional effect here. And then, of course, the center here, the stamens are painted yellow, and the stems actually blue. And this is an excerpt from page 46, which has got a little bird on a hydrangea. So on page 46, we are certain that we meet some hydrangea flowers. And it says down here, Tombow colored pencil set 36. So she has used the Tombow pencil set with the 36 colors. And these are oil-based pencils, and this is because it doesn't say that, but we know this from her other books, that the paper in a lot of these Japanese coloring books, especially the one from Aikawa Sora, but also others, are actually meant for oil-based pencils and not wax-based. And I have actually experienced this firsthand with one of her other books, Flowers and Landscapes of the World. With the page, I used my Prismacolors, and it went actually quite wrong. And I had to use a Derwent blender pencil, not a Prismacolor, because the Prismacolor blender pencil wasn't in use. I had to use a Derwent to try to blend it out. But then I have used oil-based pencils for a couple of more pages, and they work like a dream. So, you know, Faber-Castell Polychromas or Derwent Lightfasts or Tombow, if you have them, or other oil-based pencils will be great for coloring in these books. Also, actually, because in one of her very first books, she also recommended use of watercolors. And the paper, if I just have to say this, the paper here in this book is actually a little bit thinner than her older books. In her older books, the paper is actually quite thick. And when you reach the postcards, it's cardboard thick. So this can really take, you know, water and all sorts of mediums. But the paper here in this book, this is not quite as thick as in her other coloring books. So please be aware of this, because in some of her other books, it's quite thicker and you can use water mediums without problems. But in this book, I am actually not sure. I think that we would experience some bleed through with watercolors, and I would also be careful with watercolor pencils or Inktense pencils if you want to use those. And this paper is so thin, I wouldn't use markers on it if there was a chance of bleed through, because this is clearly thinner than the paper in her other books, and we are actually used to paper which is quite thick here. So now I will begin with the book. And here again we have the cover page here, and here it's not colored. In some of her books it's colored, but here you can color it yourself and enjoy this. And of course we just have the title again, Cats and the Cute Friends on the Flower Path. And then we get to the introduction page, because Aikawa Sora always writes a very lovely, very nice introduction to her coloring books. And here she has written, this coloring book begins with a cat being invited outside by some small birds one day. Cats usually live peaceful lives, but they only know their home and the world around it. So I think that she means, you know, the immediate world around it. Because if you have a cat outside, they can wander, some of them, especially the male cats. They can stray and be gone for a couple of weeks, and then they come back, smirking, usually. But then she says, however, with the guidance of the little birds, he gathers, so he, it's the main character, it's a he, a male cat. He gathers up a little courage and takes one step at a time to go into the outside world. And then we get to know what happens. It says, he meets a lot of friends there. Along the flower-filled paths, you will meet friendly cats, rabbits, fawns, squirrels, hedgehogs, red pandas, foxes, owls, and more. In the village, you'll also meet various animals such as sheep, horses, dogs, and mother and baby ducks, and spend some quality time with them. So that's just a little bit about what this book is all about. And then she continues, cats experience a new world through encounters with many friends and eventually return to the world they always live in. Return to your home and relax while reminiscing about the fun times you had with your friends. This is a depiction of an idyllic everyday life in which an ordinary day seems somehow different from previous days. So that was about the book and its content. And then she also continues here at the end. Feel free to color this coloring page, imagining you are creating a one-of-a-kind original picture book. We hope you enjoy a little adventure with your cat in a fun and relaxed way. Thank you for choosing this coloring book from the many available. Aikawa Sora. So that was the introduction. And it says here, now the story begins. So this is also sort of an introductory page. So this double page spread we see here is sort of a glimpse from the adventure that the cat is out on. We can see him wandering here along the flower path, all of these flowers, tulips and bleeding heart flowers and other. And then, of course, the two birds who invite him out into the world. And then we see some of the animals that he meets on his adventure. One of the squirrels, a rabbit, and the owl here. But the story truly begins at his home. And we remember it's a male cat here. And this page is just called Grooming on the Sofa, because well, cats use a lot of time grooming, and here he's on the sofa in the house where he lives and just relaxing. And then here outside of the window we have the two birds, and here they give him their invitation and they say to him, hey, come out into the world. Come out and enjoy an adventure with us. So he sits there and gets the invitation from the birds. And now we truly begin, because here, this page is called Come On, Go Outside, and here he leaves his home to go outside for the adventure. And look at this double page spread here, because it's really, really wonderful. We see the kitchen here, we see the fruit, some of the vegetables here in the kitchen, and still lots and lots and lots of flowers and flower arrangement here. We have the sun coming in through the windows here, and nature and the world and the road sort of opening up for the cat when he steps out of his house. And here, this page is just called Let's Go Out. Here he sits at the doorstep thinking about, do I want to go on this adventure or not? And still all of these very beautiful flowers, both here on the lawn here, but also in pots here by the door here. So if you really like, coloring animals and flowers, this is certainly a coloring book for you. Let me tell you that. Another double page spread. The small birds come to greet him when he's gone completely outside. And notice the friendly relationship between the cat and the birds. He's not a cat hunting birds. He's playing with them and enjoying their company. And then, of course, encircled by all of these different flowers here. And here he actually has a conversation with this bird, because this page is called The Story of the Little Bird. So here the little bird tells him his story, and then they become friends, of course. All of this encircled in this flower wreath frame here. This page is just called Two Little Birds. We have some feathers. Again, this is also a flower wreath-like motif here we have, but also with feathers here. And we move on. And here, this one is called Passing Through the Rose Arch. And here we have an arch completely filled with big roses. And I think that this is perhaps the signal that he really leaves his garden and goes out into the world and the wild, because here we see a lot of trees, perhaps an alley, or perhaps actually the forest. Because as we move on to the next page here, we are, well, it certainly looks like we are in some foresty nature here, and this one is called Meeting the Rabbit. And here he has his first account with a rabbit, or his first meeting with a rabbit. And this double page spread is called With My Friend the Rabbit. So here they have become friends, and also again the flower path surrounded by flowers. So on these pages here, you can really color fur, really practice coloring fur and becoming good at it with the drawings in this book. And here we also have a double page spread here. This is called Chasing Butterflies into the Forest. And we can clearly see now that we really leave the human landscape and go into the forest here. The rabbit is running, the cat is following, and over here, amongst all of these flowers and trees, we find the next animal on his journey, the fawn here. And this double page spread is called Meeting a Fawn in the Forest. So now he's in the forest and meeting his first really wild animal, the fawn. Also looks like a very friendly meeting here. And notice here how much you can color both flowers and trees, play with the background, more detailed flowers down here, and again animal fur. This double page spread is called Flower Wind Path, and this is very typical of Aikawa Sora's coloring books, because in almost all of the coloring books we find some sort of a flower wind path or flower wind or whatever, but something with flowers in the wind. And now he meets some more friends in the forest. He meets these hedgehogs, and well, some of them are rolling, and they are certainly also enjoying the flowers here in the forest. And on the next page, he meets the owl, sitting on a branch in a tree. But again, it's called Flower Path, so of course he's also surrounded by flowers, even though he is in the forest and up in a tree. This is a very special page. I really had to translate it several times to be sure that I had translated it correctly. It's actually called, and it was because I didn't know the word in English, but I do now. It's called capybaras. And capybaras are these animals down here, and they are a sort of a rodent. They have them in the zoo in Copenhagen. We also have some kangaroos over here. So this cat is really expanding his horizon here in the forest. We have some raccoons. We have these capybaras here. We have some, I think that is actually a ferret here, and a ferret, and then we have the kangaroos here. So here he simply meets a lot of the other animals in the world, and wild animals at that. Here he continues on his journey, and he's crossing a little stream, and here he meets the ferret. And we can see we are still in the forest here, because we have a lot of trees here. But at the other side of this little stream, then he comes to more inhabited areas, and here he's at the ranch or at the farm, depending on where you live. And here he meets the sheep. So here he simply meets sheep and lambs here at the farm, also surrounded in sort of a flower wreath here. And he continues to meet other animals now in the inhabited areas here. He meets a horse here at the other page. This is actually called Horse and Cherry Blossoms. So these are cherry blossoms here. And look, the birds, they continue to follow him on his journey. So they are still there to watch over him and make sure he is safe in his journey here. Here he meets a fox. And this is a larger wild animal. Actually, I do think that foxes are capable of killing cats, at least small cats. So this could actually be dangerous for the cat. But luckily, this is a very friendly fox. And then he moves on to meet some red mice here up in a tree or on a branch. I actually think these are cherries, or they could also be plums, these fruits. I actually think that they are plums, because they are sort of long and not round. So I think that these are plums here. So again, from the inhabited areas, we can see the fields here. He's beginning to move again when he meets the fox and the mice here to begin entering, I think, some more wild areas. Here we have a page and it's called Squirrels and Birds, because he also meets these on his journey, the squirrels. But then, before he enters the forest again, he meets a playmate. And this one is actually just called Hydrangea Path. You can see a lot of hydrangeas, or is it called hydrangeas here? Lots of lovely flowers, an apple tree also. And I do think that this is perhaps a female friend, because they are certainly playing here and having fun. Here they are, this is actually just called playing, and here they are wearing flower crowns, still playing, and are very, very happy. But look at this page. His new friend actually has some kittens. And this page is also just called With Kittens. So I certainly think that he gets a lot of his adventure in the outside. He gets a lot of new friends, a new cat friend, and she has some kittens too. So now he's leaving his new friend. He's going through the flowers. And this page is actually just called Going Through the Flowers. So if you really like flowers, Aikawa Sora's coloring books are really, really something you should consider investing in. Oh, and before we move on, please like this video. I have actually used quite a lot of time translating this. It's hard work, and it's so nice to get likes for your work because it shows that you really appreciate the hard work I put in my channel and in my videos. So please like this video. And if you haven't subscribed yet, then consider subscribing to my channel for more videos like this and a lot of other videos with very good content. So this double page spread here is called Going to See the Turtles, and we have a stream filled with little fishes and turtles here, and a lot of water lilies also. So if you like coloring water and water lilies, this is really a page for you. And we can see the stream continuing here. We have a small bridge where we meet a couple of ducks, and then it continues. So this cat, he is really experiencing a lot and meeting a lot of new friends here. So this just keeps getting more interesting because this one is called Red Panda and Wisteria. So we have I really think it's amazing how many different animals he meets on his journey, because I am not quite sure I know a country where you find these red pandas and turtles and capybaras and kangaroos, and then just normal. Because if you went to Australia, you could find the kangaroos, but I don't think they have red pandas in Australia. Isn't that more in Asia? Well, it's really, really interesting. And this is a cute little red panda that you can practice coloring here. And also beautiful tree. This next page is called Greetings from a Cherry Tree. And of course, Aikawa Sora is from Japan. They have a lot of cherry trees, so we do find a lot of pages with cherry flowers in her coloring books. And we have a little bird's nest here with 8 eggs in it. So, and the birds, of course, greeting this cat. We are all friends in this book. This one was actually the drawing that was depicted here with these hydrangea flowers, and this one, I think it's it's an hydrangea. I think it was a sort called manka or something, manka, because this doesn't look like the usual hydrangeas I normally color. They have a different sort of petal shape here, but this one is called A Little Bird on a Hydrangea. So this one is adorable, this drawing, really, really cute. And it keeps getting cuter because here we have it's called a chicken parent and children, but just chicken. And is it called chicklets? Small chickens. Here, cute, cute, cute. She has flowers around her neck here, and they are surrounded again in some sort of a flower wreath or something. Really, really beautiful. This one is called a double page spread, and this one is called Parakeets. And here, of course, we have parakeets and a lot of flower wreaths. So he also meets parakeets. And here you really have an opportunity to use a lot of beautiful bright colors on this double page spread here. And of course, he is also friendly with dogs, because here he meets a golden retriever, and the page is actually just called Golden Retriever and the Cat. So here they really enjoy each other's company, and this one is called Corgi in a Strawberry Field, but still they are playing. We have butterflies, we have strawberries, and a cute corgi, and well, what's not to like about this page? So from the dogs, he meets a Siberian, and it actually says here, meet the Siberian. So this is a larger cat than he is. And here, this is a beautiful double page spread. You can see here we have a little bit of water, and then we have sunshine coming down from the sky. So here you can really play with your colors, both with the background, but especially with light effects down here in this little lake or pond or whatever it is. And then we have some very beautiful iris here. And we have some leaves here blowing in the wind, and grass, so we can also practice coloring grass here. I mean, these drawings are so beautiful. And it continues. This one is called By the Pond, so it was a pond. And here you can see more of the background with the trees. We have some flowers here, and lupins, I think they're called, these flowers. And then they sit and sort of assess each other. And then we have a close-up of the Siberian, and this page is also just called Siberian. So here you can really, really get close up and color this beautiful fur on this cat. And then, of course, the flowers here. And the background and the sky. Oh, it's just so beautiful. So here, he has actually met a duck. And this duck is marching with its little, are they called ducklings in English? Her small ducks here. And again, the friendly cat doesn't do anything. He really enjoys it. We can see the two little birds up here, so they are still following and watching out for him. And again, beautiful flower trees. We can see a building here, so we are actually still near people. But perhaps he is also beginning to return home, because here he's going along the wilderness, so he is leaving the other places. And this amazing double page spread where you can really see the sky. This one is called On the Way Home. And I know that some of the other pages later on are called Sunsets, and then it's night. So if I had to color this one, and I will at a point, but not now, I would color this as an amazing sunset scenery with the sun going down and beginning with the different colors in the sky and the landscape completely lit by this setting sun here. This could be an amazing scene to color with the roses up here. And oh, I can't remember this flower. What's it's called? Well, perhaps I will remember later. I can't remember it, but beautiful, beautiful. And then we can see the cat wandering here until he gets home. And again, a beautiful, beautiful double page spread. It's called Flower Garden, so I imagine that he's almost home, because this is a garden and perhaps near his home. And again, a sunset scenery here, bright, beautiful, perhaps a bit red golden colors here on this double page spread. And this page is called Arriving Home. So now he's finally home after his adventure. We can see the rose arch here. So his home, the house is here, the trees surrounding it, the garden here. And then a close-up of him smelling the peonies here. And this page is also called Peonies, before he's really home. And here, the cat who came to play and the flowers swing. I think because he is at home, so I think that this is something that he remembers perhaps from his trip with one of the other cats he has met and played with. So a very romantic setting here, a beautiful, beautiful romantic page. And this one is called Duck Family Taking a Nap. And the cat is actually also taking a nap on this bench to gather some strength. We can see a barrel here and a watering can and more flowers and a fence here. So we know that he really is home and enjoying it. So after a quick nap, he's inside here, or actually he's on the terrace here. This one is called Embroidery and Tulips, and I actually think that it says embroidery, so we can't see anything embroidered here, unless the motif itself is actually some sort of an embroidery, motif that, you can embroider, and then you can embroider flowers and cats and so on. So this one is called Embroidery and Tulips. So I actually think that it's meant for, you can color it like it's some sort of embroidery here. Because here he is on the terrace, and it's also called On the Terrace. And I remind you that it is sunset. You can see the setting sun through the windows, because this page is called Sunset Terrace. So here you can really, really play with how golden red it's supposed to be, or is it getting a bit darker? Is it more pink and purple colors? We can see, and he's just taking a nap here in this armchair. And Are the lights turned on here? Are the lights turned on here in these light bulbs or not? Anyway, after his nap, he is on the bookshelf and enjoying himself. Luckily, he is not taking anything down. And then, of course, before bed, it's tea time. Tea time with some beautiful cakes and a cup of tea. And then here, coloring at night. So it is night now. It's a night scene. We can see the stars, and his owner is coloring here. We can see the coloring pencils. We can see the drawing of the roses that's going to be colored. So we can decide whether or not how we want to color this, if we're going to color it all or just a little bit, depending on what his owner has colored. And then, of course, here, this one is called Winter, and it's a bit funny with this page because in all of her books we can also see the seasons, spring and summer and autumn and winter, and these are the only we can see here, poinsettias, and we have some stars. So I think this page has been put in to have some sort of a winter page here, because it doesn't really fit with the story. Neither does this one really. It's called Yarn and Cat. And here we can see him playing with the yarn, because a lot of cats like playing with yarns. Not that I would recommend it. It could be dangerous. And we have a lot of clothes. So these two pages I see more as Aikawa Sora usually have these pages in her coloring books with some clothes or some accessories and a little bit of winter. So I see these pages as, she also wanted to have them in this coloring book, because here we are back with him again taking a nap in front of the fireplace. And then it's night. The night is fallen, and we can see here the owls in this tree. It's actually called a view of the garden at night. So here you can really play with your colors and keep them in a purple or blue, or if you want to, a gray tone. All of this, and not any bright colors, because it is night. So this is supposed to be sort of a more dark page. And here we have the cat from this page here. We can see the full page now, and this one is called Moonlit Night. So he is out in the garden in the moonlit night, taking a breath of fresh air and looking again at the night sky and the garden here at night. And then he goes to sleep, and this page is just called Good Night. And then the story has ended. Then we have the index pages with explanations of every page. This page is an explanation of the postcard pages. So it says how to use the special coloring postcards. The illustrations from this book have been printed on postcards. Please color it yourself and complete it. Color it while thinking of a loved one and send it with a message. And then it says down here, please cut along the dotted lines and use. Please include a stamp when sending. Well, of course, because otherwise it doesn't reach the people it's supposed to. And here we have the biography of Aikawa Sora. And it says, born in Kanagawa Prefecture, graduated from Asagaya Art College after attending Setsu Mode Seminar of School of Illustration and Hiroyuki Yamada's illustration course. She is now a freelance illustrator, active in a variety of media, including miscellaneous goods, books, and magazines. She mainly draws floral motifs using ballpoint pens and watercolors. She has held solo exhibitions and group exhibitions, mainly in Tokyo. Her publications include 24 colored pencil set for a relaxing heart and coloring book, Flower Weather, Flower News, both published by Cosmic Publishing, or Cosmic Book, as it's called. And then we can see the release date here, 8th of January 2025, so very her latest. And then I will just turn the book here and you can see the postcards. And this is really cardstock and it's so smooth in the surface. So wax-based pencils will really have a hard time. Use oil-based pencils because wax-based will just, you know, sort of rub off on this. It's so smooth. And here we can see some of the motifs here where he meets another cat, where he plays. And here, one of the double page spread. I think that these postcards are, well, cute, but also here there are so many tiny details. So I do think that this one, perhaps it should have been enhanced and just a little bit of the motif here, because it's almost impossible to color these little details, especially with coloring pencils. I think that fine liners would actually work a bit better here. Another pair of postcards here where he's playing, and here with the two birds. The details on some of these are actually bigger, but again, small details here with these parakeets. The flowers here, they are okay. You can color them. And here with the owls, again, tiny details. I mean, I think it's a very cute idea with the postcards, but I don't think that, well, in the real world and real life, I would probably not color them because there are so many tiny details compared to the larger pages in this book. And but it's a cute idea, especially if you live in a country where you do send a lot by mail. We don't in Denmark. Everything is so digitalized now that I never get a letter anymore. I just get emails. Also from, you know, the state, just emails. And here, and that was the final book. And here, of course, her biography again. And then some of her coloring books, Flower Weather, Flower News, and A Peace of Mind, Flower News. And they are both up as translated flip-throughs on my channel, so go check them out. She has also made Flowers and Landscapes of the World, and one of my personal favorites, Beautiful Island Flowers and Landscapes. And that was it. Thank you so much for watching this translated flip through. Remember, like this video and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. I really do appreciate your support. I hope that you enjoyed this flip through, and I hope that it gave you an idea whether or not you want to purchase this book. And certainly I hope that it gave you a much bigger understanding what this book is all about. Upcoming videos, well, I have a color and chat, and my subscribers have voted for which coloring book illustrator I will be using right now. It looks like it will be Johanna Basford, but let's see. Also, upcoming more reviews of coloring pencils, and actually I'm also going to, in the very near future, do some videos with my colored pencil collection, and also discuss the differences between wax-based and oil-based pencils and the pencils I like the best and why. So stay tuned on my channel. More videos with great content are going to come. So, until I see you in the next video, take care of yourself. Have a lovely day. Happy coloring. Bye.